Zach thought he was just tagging along on a camping trip with his girlfriend and her friends. In everyone's eyes, he was only the quiet new guy, the one stuck chopping wood in the forest while the others stayed back at camp. But while Zach was alone with a hatchet in his hand, a purple force suddenly exploded beneath his feet and tore him out of the world he knew. In the next second, a strange system appeared before his eyes and announced that Earth was being merged with other worlds. Before Zach could even process that, the system spawned a giant red monster right behind him and forced him into a survival roll. The monster would roll from 1 to 100,000. Zach would only roll from 1 to 100, and when the numbers finally stopped, even Zach could not believe what he saw. How did an awkward camping trip turn into a fight for survival? The answer goes back to one innocent thing Zach thinks about. Information is power. It can pierce your enemy. It can also pierce you. Zach learned that the hard way. He told his new girlfriend one small fact. His family camped once when he was a kid. That was enough. Now he was the trip's lumberjack. He hacked at branches in the forest. The firewood was awful. He even thought his dad probably bought wood before. Still, he did not hate the work. The quiet forest felt nice. It gave him a break from Hannah's friends. Being the new guy felt awkward. Back at camp, Tyler was complaining again. This time, he was angry about the tent. David said he had been helping Izzy. Izzy told Tyler to calm down. She even offered him another brownie. That only made Tyler more annoyed. Hannah spoke up for Zach. She said he was good at this stuff. Zach agreed to help. He kept chopping while Hannah watched. Then Tyler asked for even more firewood. Zach simply accepted it. Tyler later told Hannah Zach was too intense. Hannah only smiled. She said that was just who he was. After a while, Zach had enough wood. They did not need that much anyway. It was only one night. He started thinking about heading back. Then everything changed. A purple force burst around his feet. The forest disappeared. A strange space opened around him. Bright panels flashed into view. A system welcomed him to the multiverse. Zach thought he was dreaming. He wondered if it was heat stroke. But the messages kept coming. Earth lacked enough size and energy. It would be merged with other planets. The land would be changed. Spawn points would be randomized. Wildlife would be upgraded. Zach could barely process it. He even blamed Izzy's brownies. He called for Hannah, David, and the others. No one answered. Then the system gave another warning. An incursion was starting. A herald was being spawned, but the herald shared Zach's location. Now he had to roll for survival. A hiss came from behind him. Zach turned around. A giant red monster stood there. The system called it Herald Urchaz. The odds were insane. Urchaz would roll from 1 to 100,000. Zachary Atwood would roll from 1 to 100. The lower roll would be eradicated. Zach was stunned. He could not believe that gap. The system accepted Zach's command to roll. He froze for a second. Then, the numbers started spinning. Zach panicked at once. He tried to cancel the roll. He even hit the blue screen. But nothing stopped. His result landed on 96. It was 96 out of 100. That was almost as good as possible. Then the herald's roll began. Zach knew it still might not matter. The odds were too far apart. He looked at the monster and understood. Nothing should have been enough. His thoughts went to his dad. Then they went to Mackenzie. He called himself a terrible older brother. He even wondered when camp would notice he was gone. He thought he was about to lose everything. All because of a dice roll. Then he snapped out of it. He tightened his grip on the hatchet. He stopped caring about probability. He only wanted one chance. The herald's roll finally stopped at 91. The system congratulated him. Zach could barely process it. He had won. Urchaz had no rerolls left. The herald roared as energy tore through it. The system declared Zack's continued existence. Urkaz was vanquished. Then the messages kept coming. Standard protocols resumed. Zack was spawned again. Level up notices flooded the space. The next moment, he was back on the ground. He groaned and pushed himself up. His hatchet and chopped wood were still nearby. He wondered if he had passed out. Then he looked up. The sky was different. The forest around him was not normal either. Zack could only ask where he was. The message still hung in his mind. Earth had been merged with other worlds. Zack tried to deny it. He wondered if it was all a dream. Hatchet in hand, he started toward camp. A rustle in the trees made him stop. Then he saw the trailer ahead. Camp was much closer than he thought. He figured the others had already lit the fire. He called out and hurried forward. But something was wrong. The fire was burning alone. A chair and supplies were scattered nearby. Then he saw a purple beast in the campsite. It looked just like the monster from before. The creature turned and roared at him. It lunged without warning. Zack gripped his hatchet and swung. The blow sliced straight through the beast. Even Zack could not believe it. Then it all clicked. The screen was real. The monster was real. The dice roll was real. This was not a dream. Blood ran down his arm as he called for help. Still, no one answered. He ran toward the trailer, desperate to leave. The beast gets up and after him. It was faster than he expected. Then it slammed into the ground. Zack noticed one thing at once. Once it started charging, it could not turn well. A plan came to him. He ran and shouted for it to follow. The beast chased him through the forest. His legs still shook. At first, Zack thought it was fear. Then he understood the truth. It was rage. He tightened his grip on the hatchet. Then he faced the beast head-on. He shouted for it to come and kill him. The monster charged at once. Zack slipped aside at the last second. The beast missed him and crashed past. That gave him the opening he needed. He brought the hatchet down hard. The blow sank deep into its body. Then Zack kept hacking. Compared to the odds he already faced, this monster was nothing. He tore into it again and again. He roared that it was nothing. Blood sprayed everywhere. At the end, the beast collapsed. A message gave him 100 Nexus coins. Zack stood over the corpse, breathing hard. Then he started moving again. He left bloody prints through the forest. He called for Hannah. Still, no one answered. He asked if anyone was there. He made it back to the trailer. Blood smeared across the door as he reached it. He could barely stay on his feet. His thoughts drifted to home. Then everything went dark. When he came to, he was by the steps. He rubbed his head and looked at his hands. They were still covered in blood. He pulled out his phone to check the time. It said Wednesday, 8:47. Zack could only stare in confusion. Then another shock hit him. He had been asleep for 3 days. Inside the RV, everything was still there. Hannah and the others were gone. Their things had not even been taken. That made the answer feel obvious. They probably were not coming back. Outside, Zack tried to think clearly, but nothing around him made sense. His body had already healed. He knew he should be dead. But he was still here. He was alone in the woods. His phone had no service. The car battery was dead. And monsters were real. He wondered what it even was. Some kind of alien, maybe. Then his thoughts turned home. If the forest had changed this much, what about the rest of Earth? He thought of his dad. He thought of Kenzie. He knew he had to get home. So he climbed higher for a better view. What he saw stopped him cold. An ocean stretched beyond the forest. A red beam rose far away. He could not even see the end of it. The whole world had changed. Furious, he cursed the system. Then blue screens filled the air. Titles and rewards started pouring in. They kept adding more bonuses. A status screen followed. It showed his name, level, and stats. It showed titles, free points, and coins. Zack could only stare. The world really looked like a game. Then active quests appeared. One wanted level 25. One wanted the 4 heralds dead. One wanted him to protect an outpost. He guessed the red beam was the incursion. Then the system asked about creating an outpost. Zack figured it was some kind of base. That sounded better than hiding in the RV. So he agreed. The system confirmed the outpost was created. For a moment, nothing else happened. Then a voice asked what he was doing. Zack turned with his hatchet ready. A strange floating being hovered nearby. It was clearly not human. The being replied that they were both disappointed. The shock made Zack lose his balance. As he slipped, he grabbed its trailing tail. In the next second, Zack was tangled in thick coils. He barely kept his balance. One careless moment had done this. A giant serpent came for him. Zack knew he could not relax again. This world only looked like a game. If he wanted to grow stronger, he had to risk it. He refused to die there. So he made his move. He reached for the serpent's head. Then he smashed it into a tree. The trunk cracked from the impact. Even then, Zack's thoughts stayed sharp. The system rewarded hunters and killers. Power mattered more than anything now. If he wanted to survive, he had to become strongest. Above him, the floating being watched. It thought Zack never had much of a chance. It believed an outpost would have helped. It even mocked his choice of a tree. To it, humans were painfully average. Then the forest rang with more hacking. Blood flew as Zack kept swinging. Abby stared at the bloody scene in shock. Around Zack, the chopped serpent still twitched. He stood there, breathing hard, hatchet in hand. Then Abby admitted she had judged him too soon. She said he had some merit after all. After that, she introduced herself. Her full name was Vietha Barak, but Zack could call her Abby. She said she had been sent to help. Her job was tied to his new outpost. Zack gave his own name back. Then he asked the obvious question. How was she even talking without a mouth? He also asked what her help meant. Abby grumbled that he had missed the tutorial. She said pixies were supposed to explain things. Zack snapped back at once. No one had sent him anywhere. He had been left alone in the demon forest. And that had happened 3 days ago. That answer stunned Abby. She thought Earth had only just begun integration, when Zack insisted it had been days, not months. She grew even more surprised. Then she called him a defier. Zack had no idea what that meant. So Abby finally started explaining everything. She said Earth had entered the multiverse. It was now part of something ancient and massive. Many humans had been taken to tutorial towns. They would spend a month there learning. That made Zack think of his family. Abby said they were likely safe there. At least for now. But not everyone would be protected. Some people could not absorb cosmic energy. Those people would die sooner or later. Without cultivation, mortals had little chance. Zack then asked about defiers. He wanted to know if he was doomed too. Abby said maybe yes, maybe no. A defier was someone who surpassed all expectations. The system expected them to die. But they survived and grew stronger anyway. They defied fate itself. That made them valuable. Still, Abby warned Zack was in extreme danger. She called it a rare opportunity. Zack did not see it that way. He said a deadly dice roll was no blessing. Abby answered that the system decided what mattered. Then came the harsher truth. The system hated cowards. Anyone who failed or gave up would be punished. Zack asked if he really had no choice. Did he have to clear every quest? Did he have to kill all those demons? Abby told him he was at the front line. The system was already watching him, so he should not disappoint it. Then she added one last warning. He should finish those quests in 1 month, not 3. Before Zack could answer, Abby suddenly vanished. The system had pulled her away early. All Zack could do was stare. 1 month was all he had. Far away, a grand feast filled a demon hall. From the balcony, Ogress watched in silence. A woman told him to celebrate. His grandfather, Okrul, had named him Incursion General. To everyone else, it was a great honor. To Ogress, it was the kind people killed for her. Another demon told him to prepare for war. Ogress refused. He said he would not play their game. He would let fools think they were in control. Then one noble suddenly coughed up purple blood. He crashed to the floor. Panic spread through the hall. Before anything settled, Urgus walked away. At a forest stream, the water ran quietly. A small blue creature fluttered over the water. A demonic beast bent down and drank. The little creature landed on its snout. When the beast turned, Zack attacked from behind. His hatchet split deep into its back. The kill earned him a new title. He gained Demon Slayer. It strengthened him against demonic enemies. He also gained coins and another level. Zack was relieved to level up at last. The system clearly did not make it easy. Still, the level gave him more free stats. He had not even used his earlier points yet. For a moment, he thought about waiting. Then he rejected that idea. The snake fight had taught him enough. He needed power now, not later. So he used every point at once. He raised strength, dexterity, endurance, and vitality. He left nothing unused. There might not be a later. Above him, the red beam still burned. Zack lay back and counted the days. Only 25 remained in his first month. He thought about Abby's warning. There had to be a reason she said it. And a reason the system punished her. By the river, Zack kept thinking. Maybe finishing in 1 month gave a special reward. Or maybe life got much worse after that. Either way, he had a chance right now. Other people were still trapped in the tutorial. He could not waste that. He drank from the river. Then he pulled his hatchet free. That was enough resting. It was time to work again. Later, by the campfire, Zack checked his titles. Most came from being the first to do something. But creating the outpost gave him nothing. That bothered him. It meant others had done it before him. Maybe there were more people like him. People outside the tutorial. And if a simple snake grew that fast, others could already be far stronger. So Zack looked through the outpost shop. He needed something that could help now. Maybe something to make him stronger. Maybe something to help him find his family. But everything cost Nexus coins. He only earned 100 for each demon dog. He had gotten some more from the snake. Then he found a teleporter. For a second, hope hit him. Maybe it could bring his family to him. Maybe it could send him to them. Or at least get him off the island. Then he saw the price. 10 million Nexus coins. That was impossible for now. So he turned back to the quests. Some buildings in the shop had huge benefits. If he got the right one early, it could change everything. Still, he knew one thing. He could not hoard his coins. Like his stat points, they had to help now. In the end, only 2 things stood out. One of them was a skill. Eye of Discernment. It could reveal basic information on creatures. That might tell him how to kill them. So Zack took it. The skill hit his eye at once. Pain rushed through his head. The second thing he bought was a strange necklace. Its name was long and ridiculous, but its use was simple. It slowly gathered cosmic energy for him. It could feed him even while he slept. Zack sat down and wore it. He might not be a true cultivator, but he could still take what he needed. Soon, waiting started to bother him. So he got up again. From then on, he spent almost all his time hunting. When he caught demon dogs by surprise, they died fast. When he did not, fights got ugly. Still, every battle taught him something. He learned to read fresh tracks. He learned how to swing his axe better. He learned how to block. He learned how to use Eye of Discernment. The skill showed him their name. They were Barghests. He started leaving supplies around the island. That way he could survive away from camp. So he kept hunting. He fought. He bled. And he killed. He killed enough that bodies piled up. Leveling became slower each time. But Zack kept getting stronger. Eventually, he stopped seeing the Barghests as hunters. They became prey. He reached level 23. But less than 5 days remained in the month. Far away, footsteps echo through the room. Rydell enters and calls for Ogress. Ogress greets him with a hiccup. He asks how the incursion preparations are going. Rydell says he would know that answer by reading the reports. Ogress says that is why he has a second in command. Then he tells Rydell to come closer and sit. Rydell refuses to sit. He asks if Ogress is drunk. Ogress groans and says people keep asking that. He says their part in the incursion will not start for weeks. So in his view, there is little else to do. Rydell places a document before him. He tells Ogress to sign it and return to his wine. The paper names Keverin, Rydell's cousin, for Master of Scouts. Ogress signs it and says, "Why not?" Rydell thanks the general. He says the orders will be followed swiftly. Ogress calls him a good man. He says he can always count on Rydell. After Rydell leaves and the door shuts, Ogress mutters that only a few more weeks remain. Back in the forest, Zack moved carefully. One hand stayed low as he moved through the brush. Then he spotted a monster ahead. It was just lying there ahead. He crouched and tightened his grip on his axe. Then the beast suddenly noticed something. Zack was shocked. How did the beast notice me? Then suddenly a huge beast jumped out and attacked the smaller beast. It tore the smaller beast apart in one bite. He froze as the beast chewed through the body. Blood dripped from its jaws as it sniffed again. Then the monster turned and charged straight at him. He ran at once, stunned by its size. He realized this had to be a herald. It was far bigger than the other monsters. Even its claws looked as long as his arm. He knew brute force would not be enough. If he wanted to kill it, he needed a plan. So he rushed back to camp. But something was already there. A red devil stood by his fire. Beside it was a small, winged imp. The imp was speaking in a strange language. Zack hid and watched from behind a tree. This one looked smarter than the others. He wondered if it had come for him. He used Eye of Discernment to learn more. The skill identified the two demons. But the imp noticed him at once. It gathered purple power in its hand. Zack moved and defended with his axe. The purple spell slammed into his axe. Before he could recover, the beast lunged. It slammed into him and bit the handle. The imp kept attacking him. A purple spell hit Zack in the shoulder. Then the beast slammed him into the ground. Zack yelled and fought to get free. The attack barely grazed his shoulder. He quickly slapped away the purple flame. The wound was shallow, but it burned. Then the imp floated closer with another spell ready. Now it was 2 against 1, and his hatchet was already damaged. Still, Zack did not hesitate. If he could not beat these odds, he deserved nothing. He lowered his body and dashed again. The imp launched another volley. Zack pushed forward through the barrage. The red demon beast leaped at Zack again. He met it head-on and grabbed hold. Its claws tore into him as they crashed together. Still, he forced the monster down. They slammed into the ground in a brutal tangle. Zack kept hitting until the beast stopped moving. Then the imp blasted him from behind. Purple fire burst through his body. At that moment, Zack understood something new. Cosmic energy was the building block of the multiverse. He had carried it since his very first kill. The gathering array taught him how to feel it. The skill taught him how to use it. Now he had to learn how to control it. He looked at his broken axe and made a choice. The imp should never have broken it. Zack grabbed the Barghest by the tail. The imp answered with another storm of purple fire. Zack planted his feet and spun into the attack. He turned the beast into a shield and a weapon. The whole clash ended in a blazing explosion. By day 30, the final day of the first month had arrived. Pieces of the last fight slid down the cliff. They splashed into the water below. The dead imp and demon drifted in the cove. Zack sat above them and finished a rough weapon. He said that should do it. He wished he had reached level 25 first. But Abby had told him to finish his quests fast. That was reason enough to keep moving. The system rewarded risks. So Zack decided to hunt a second herald. Far away, the demons were making plans. Ogress called it a busy month. Rydell said the real work had not started yet. Once the portal finished, everything would change. And when the armies marched, they were eager. Back in the forest, Zack faced the second herald. It was a level 45 Vul. One look told him strength alone would not work. A single clean hit would kill him. Then a memory of his father returned. Humans survived by using tools and traps. That was what made them special. 2 hours before the fight, Zack made his preparations. He said his father was right. Luckily, he had plenty of spears. He hid sharpened stakes beneath the brush. Then the herald rushed at him with a roar. Zack stayed calm and watched it closely. He knew strength alone would not be enough. The gap between them was too large. One solid hit from the herald would kill him. So he decided it would never touch him. He dodged the first rush by a hair. As it passed, he cut into its side. Zack could channel cosmic energy through his body. That made him stronger and tougher. But he was not a cultivator. He only had so much cosmic energy. So he shouted and pulled the herald after him. The beast chased him down the forest path. It tore through the trees as it came. Another strike flashed toward him. Zack dodged again at the last second. The herald smashed through the tree beside him. There was no room for error. Zack gritted his teeth and focused. He forced the cosmic energy into his feet. As he controlled it, he jumped. Then he poured it into his axe. Zack swung with everything he had and smashed against the herald's head. At the same time, the portal on the demon's side stirred. Orgus stepped out and asked where Rydell was. The scarred demon said he had already gone through the incursion portal. He addresses Orgus as General. The scarred demon turned and gave a signal. The armored group moved forward. They blocked the portal. The scarred demon told Orgus he would not be following him. Orgus only smiled. While that happened, Zack kept running beneath the red beam. He felt the necklace flare and knew he was overdoing it. His body could barely endure the strain. But he could not stop. He was almost at the trap. The herald thundered after him, getting closer. At the last moment, Zack saw the hidden spikes ahead. The monster closed in. He forced the energy through his body again. Then he moved. At the last second, Zack leaped aside. The herald flew past him and into the trap. Wooden spikes tore through its body. Zack waited to see if it worked. The monster twitched, then went still. The system answered at once. Zack leveled up. He reached level 25. The quest was complete. A class was now available. For a moment, he could only stare. Then the relief hit him. Zack laughed and shouted in triumph. He had done it. But the feeling did not last. More red eyes opened in the dark. Elsewhere, a wounded demon begged for mercy. Ogress cut him down without hesitation. When the others questioned the disguises, he refused to drop them. He wanted no trace of their involvement. Some warned him they would lose protection. Ogress no longer cared about his clan. He said his own home was just as dangerous. Now only one thing mattered. He and his people would go meet the locals.